Okay, good morning and welcome to our webinar this morning regarding online school payments by Edlio. Shortened, we refer to that as OSP by Edlio. We certainly are glad you're with us this morning. As Kathy mentioned a minute ago, for some of you that were on earlier, we are in the middle of a really strong thunderstorm in Little Rock at the moment. So if for some reason we do lose connection or lose power, we'll be back on as quickly as we can get back online. But hopefully you guys will have a good weather day. I know a lot of concern about that across the state today. Also, we'll let you know that today's session will be recorded. So Trent, if you'll go ahead and maybe start that recording. We've had several requests for those folks that couldn't be here with us today. They want to be able to check the recording later on. It'll be placed on our website by the first of next week. I realize you may not care about that as you may be on spring break, but it'll be out by the first of next week. We also encourage you today, if you have questions throughout the presentation, if you'll place those questions in the chat box. We will use those questions to design a frequently asked question document that will also be placed on our website with the recording. We'll also have a few minutes at the end of the presentation to take a few questions today as well. So what we are looking at today is a comprehensive credit card acceptance system for districts. I know that Kathy Hanlon and I have been working on trying to provide this for school districts for the last several years. We knew this was on its way as more young people in our country were using less and less cash, but COVID really increased the demand for a credit card system. And so what we have designed is a comprehensive system in which districts will be able to upload a file for easy integration into eFinance Plus. And during the presentation today, you may see eFinance Plus referred to as Power School. So really, eFinance Plus is just a customized version of Power School. So those words are interchangeable. We will have with us today from Edlio, Lauren Goldberg and Tony Watkins. They'll provide an overview of the comprehensive system. And then Kendall Wells, Director of APSRC Technology Department here at APSRC, will provide information on the file upload into eFinance Plus. And then we'll have some questions at the end. So with that, I'll turn it over to Lauren. And Lauren, glad to have you with us.
Thanks, Ken. And thank you for the nice introduction.
Lauren, we can't hear you.
Can't hear me? No. Okay, hold on. Is that better?
There you go.
Okay, fantastic. Okay. Hey, Ken, thank you so much for the nice introduction. Good morning, everyone. Happy St. Patrick's Day. I see some people are wearing green. First off, thank you so much for making the time to be here today. I'm thrilled to show you our Edlio payment solution and to see how we can help your schools take payments at your campuses. Before I jump in here, I just want to kind of quickly introduce our team. I have a number of colleagues on here as well, and if you move forward with us, you may be working with these folks from time to time. First off, I want to introduce Tony Watkins. Tony is our Payments Director of Operations. He is the wizard behind the curtain for when it comes to the integrations. So if you do the Power School integration or the eFinance Plus integration, he is the man to thank for that. And he'll be talking a little bit about both of those integrations a little bit later today. Also on the call today is my colleague, Christine. Christine has over 20 years experience with school activity funds. So she is a real expert, and I might be calling on her a little bit later just in case we have any further questions on those. So Christine, thank you for being here. Christine does, she does help with sort of any sort of opportunities or any kind of questions about maybe new clients for Arkansas. Okay. Also on here is Peter Perez. Peter is our sales executive for websites, pay, and for broadcasts. So if you are in a district that might do more than one Edlio module, you might be working with Peter. Okay. And last but not least is Rodrigo. Rodrigo is our VP of sales. And he's more of a fly on the wall, but he's here in attendance as well. Okay. All right, so that's the team. If you're wondering who we are, that's who we are. So, and a little bit about my background. I'm the sales solutions manager here at Edlio. I have been doing payments for about 13 years now. I have to probably count it again. And I've been in ed tech specifically for 7 years. Love payments, love schools. So just kind of, this is a dream come true for me in terms of what I do every day. Okay. So that's who we are. So very nice to meet you all. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and hop in here, talk a little bit more about, oh, and Tony mentioned Kendall. Kendall will be talking about the integrations as well. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and I'm going to share my screen. Just a quick note, I am a fast talker, so if I'm going too fast, please let me know. My uncle used to always say, I don't have an accent, I just talk fast. So, all right, and I'm going to go ahead and present. Let's see, how do I, there we go, there's present. So just a little bit about who we are here at OSP. We are, actually, let me go over the agenda first. First, we're going to talk a little bit about the partnership background. I'm going to talk a little bit about the company as a whole in case you don't know who we are. We're going to do sort of an overview of the software. So, taking credit cards online and in person, receipting, reporting, some just general school business. We're going to talk a little bit about those integrations. Again, this is going to be more Kendall and Tony. Again, specifically, we were going to offer two for APSRC. So student data and that accounting piece, okay? Afterwards, we're going to review the OSP services. So things like the technology behind it, the additional pieces that you get with it, like client success, all support, all hosting, if you have a question, who do you talk to? All that's included with the services. And then I'd like to end today with a review of sort of those exclusive APSRC benefits that you guys will get, how that would be implemented. And, if you're interested in learning more, what next steps would be, okay? So that's sort of our general agenda, okay? And so first, let's talk a little bit about the partnership. So just real quick, sort of as an overview of sort of those benefits, I'll talk more about this later, but just sort of as a bit of a small carrot to begin with, we're going to offer special pricing and discounts for APSRC school members. Again, those free integrations, you'll get at no cost. And we do offer a rebate program. And simply put, the more that we process credit cards for your schools, the more that you can get a small portion back. Most schools have opted to do this sort of as like a small reward. I know there's at least one school district, they host like a party for staff with this money. I think that's kind of cool. Some people have opted to maybe help do the service fee for parents, something like that, but this is included. So the more that you process through us, the more you actually can get back, okay? All right. All right, and in terms of Edlio, let me talk a little bit about the company. So in Arkansas, we service a couple different school districts, the biggest being Little Rock. We've been with Little Rock quite a long time, I think at least 7 years. We also power Springdale and Truman. Nationwide, we have over 6,000 schools on our platform, but 3 of the biggest that you might have heard of include Miami-Dade, Nashville, and Atlanta, okay? We do have some pretty big name home, what do you say? Names you've heard of. How about that? We'll go with that. Okay. Let's get that one. As a little bit about sort of the technology behind Edlio. We have 9 of the 25 largest school districts in the United States. Again, we have that 6,000 schools using our platform. So, you can rest assured that this software is good. It's well adopted. And we've processed over $100 million in 2019. I think we know what we're doing, to put it mildly. Okay. All right. I think that's probably a good stopping point for just sort of the company background. I'm going to go ahead and talk a little bit about the software. In terms of the offerings that we are going to give for APSRC, the main one is going to be what we call online school payments. Online school payments is our e-commerce store. So it's going to be a responsive store. You can do it on a laptop, on a desktop, a cell phone, tablet. It's going to respond and change based on the screen size. It's going to feel and look similar to maybe Amazon or eBay. Okay, so it's an e-commerce store, right? You're going to have different things that parents can see and buy and add to their cart. It is also available for community members, so you can do things like donations and like football tickets, things like that. In terms of the store, it has a very robust software package. So you can have over 40 different ways you can configure your fees. There's like, I think over 80 reports that you can run, statements. There's going to be full ACH, and there's going to be some pretty robust ways that you can collect data. I think the big one is going to be school activity funds. So when you create these different fees that you're receipting for, you'll be able to capture, say, maybe that, that general ledger number, that account name. If you're doing things maybe like sub-accounts, things like that, it'll also be captured that as well, okay? This data collection will also, when you run those reports, all that data will be kind of collated so that you can kind of quickly review and see where that's for, okay? So this is OSP. OSP is, the big word we like to call with OSP is that it's free. And I think this is sort of the real big add here. It's the value add, right? It's free licenses, free setup, training, tech support, web hosting, unlimited users, unlimited bank accounts. It's free setup in terms of the fees. You don't have to pay like this big automation fee for it. You don't have to, you can just do it general. All deposits are included. Reporting is included. We have audit and fraud prevention features built in. Again, no cost, risk-free, free. So that's just really, and everyone goes, Lauren, what's the catch? When you say it's free, what does that mean? We do charge a small service fee on each transaction, okay? But this is a free software that you can give to your families and to your communities. In terms of that service fee, we offer a number of ways how that can be configured. I will say about 90% of our schools have chosen just to pass that fee on to the parent or purchaser. This will mean that you have a true $0 bill at the end of the day. However, if you want, there are alternatives. If you like, you can do like a monthly invoice. You can do a net. We can kind of build that fee into the line item price, but it's really up to you, okay? Any questions on this piece of the sort of the session? Okay, all right. If you do have questions, please feel free to just jump in and ask. I'm an open book. Real quick, just to kind of talk a little bit more about that service fee. If anyone's wondering what those numbers are, we don't hide them. We do charge 4%. Actually, you guys have a special rate, it's 3.95. And Ken's nodding, yeah. You guys get a special rate, it's 3.95, so you get a little bit less. We do divide that, Visa, MasterCard get most, but part of that is obviously kept by us for things like hosting and for support and that sort of thing, okay? And I will make this more clear in the packet when I send that out, okay? All right. And let me actually pause here. And we're going to actually hop into the software because I want to show you guys what this looks like. And I'm going to show you Little Rock real quick, okay? So let's see. Does everyone see Little Rock School District? Do you guys see that? Okay, fantastic. Yes. Excellent. So this is the real live OSP web store for Little Rock School District. I'm actually going to throw this URL in the chat. If anyone feels like going in there, please feel free. It is live. Let me chat. Give me 1 second.
While you're doing that, I will point out that a lot of the Little Rock payments are for after school care. That is an option, but they do other things as well, right?
That is correct. And I'm not sure why it's not letting me go into chat, but if anyone wants to go there, it's osp.osmsinc.com/littlerock. And I can put this in a follow-up email in case anyone wants to go there, okay? For some reason, I can't get into chat right now, not sure why. But just to move on, basically the way that it works is that each school category has its own sort of space. So here's elementary, here's middle, here's high. This can be customized out to whatever you guys like. There's the aftercare that Ken mentioned and the childcare centers. But just sort of as a quick example of what this looks like at the school level. So this is Central High. And so these are going to be for things like school activity funds. And you can see there's like art club and there's band and there's some choir fees. Let's see, JV, dance and drill, Looks like they're selling t-shirts, booster club, orchestra, transcript fees, yearbooks. You get the idea. This is actually a very typical list of different items that schools could be taking funds for. Okay, just to kind of get your kind of mind thinking about what you could be taking with the system. Okay, I'm actually going to go in and show you just a real quick demo environment so you guys can see what that looks like, sort of from beginning to end. This isn't really a full demo, but I just want to kind of quickly highlight some of the main features. I'm actually logged in as a parent. Parents will be able to have their own user account and they'll be able to sort of make their own purchases under their name. As you can see, I'm logged in as Molly. So parents will always be able to view whatever they've purchased before. Oop, logged me out. I was inactive for probably just a touch too long. All right, there we go. So this is order number ending in 3498, and it was for a t-shirt and for a spirit shirt. Okay. So parents are always able to sort of quickly review these receipts, kind of self-service. This is sort of the same level of detail that you'll be able to see in the admin area, except you'll actually be able to see even more. Parents get more of a limited view. Okay. In terms of how the process works, parents will go to their space in the store. So maybe they're going to go to this school. This is Sunnydale. Maybe they're going to add, you know, whatever item they want to the cart. Okay. And then they can actually go and check out. I'm going to do a real simple purchase today, just because I know we have a fairly limited time today. You'll notice that when I do my checkout, I have the ability to assign a student. So this is how we're able to have that information on the receipt and the reports. And then like, hey, did you actually pay to go to that field trip to the zoo? This is how we know. By the way, this is how we're going to integrate that PowerSchool piece. So when we have the things like, you know, student ID, student name, the ability to do additional student restrictions, that's how it's going to tie together. Okay. The PowerSchool student integration is included at no cost. Okay. All right. I'm going to go ahead and go next. So the rest is very similar to Amazon or eBay. So we got our billing address. We are going to go to review order. Parents can write a small footnote if they want. You'll notice that we have our totals here, and this will be reflective on how you have that service fee set up. So if you're passing on to the parent, this is what they would see. They'd see that sort of extra sort of service fee here. And then finally, we're going to have a space for the card information itself. Edlio is actually what's called a credit card aggregator. And what this means is that we are a super merchant account, and your schools would actually be a sub merchant. So you do not have to have a merchant account to use our system. You can actually just use us. It's how makes it easy. And it's one less thing for you to worry about. In terms of the parent utilization, all they have to do is they have to put their card number in. Okay. So let me go ahead and do that. Try not to use this card. I can't promise it'll work. Okay. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and hit place order. The system is going to load. It's checking for things like inventory. Are there sufficient funds on the card? And once that goes through and we get those positives on those checks, the order is going to complete. Okay. And so what this means now is when we go, actually, here we go. So once that information is complete, we will do the confirmation. The receipt will go through. These confirmations will go out to the parent, and a copy will go out to the school. So typically this will be the school bookkeeper, maybe in the main office. And then if you have any designated sponsors or teachers, they will get a copy as well. Okay. And that's just sort of the basic process. Talking a little bit more about the back end of OSP, we do offer a full back end. So let me go in there. The back end is where administrators do their work. Here pulled up on my screen is an example of an item that we have set up for sale. This one happens to be a one-to-one program. So we have things like name, sponsor teacher information, date available for sale, price information. This one's set to $25, but there's a number of different ways you can do this. And perhaps the most important one is going to be that fund account piece. So with the eFinance Plus integration that we'll be doing for APSRC, we'll actually get a copy of your chart of accounts. So every time you set up a fee, you'll be able to designate that particular fund account. Okay. And what this means is that when you log in here, you will have these already available to use. And you can just scroll through the list, select the one that you want to use. And I think for this one, we're going to do technology. Select that. And then now it's going to be tied to that particular fund account. This is important for when you run reports because you'll be able to find things like that fund account information. Okay. And this here is a quick example of one fund account, or pardon me, one example of a report. So you can have things like name and student information and purchaser and order and timestamp and amount received and all those wonderful things. As just another kind of quick example of a report, we offer like 80, so I can't show you all of them today. But one quick example is going to be transactions by fund account, account select. So you'll be able actually to kind of go through here and look at all of your transactions, and you can actually go through and specify which fund accounts you want to review. So this is a really nifty report. I really love this one because it breaks down all your transactions into different groups. Okay. We do offer other reports options as well. So transactions by student, transactions by homeroom, if you want to do homeroom, transactions by product, by date, by teacher, you get the idea. The other main report that we do offer is going to be a statement. So every time we do a deposit into your school bank accounts, you'll be able to look at these to verify, how much money each school received. And you can see sort of the breakdown into each fund account. Okay. And these statements will be available after we complete those ACH deposits. Okay. And this report does go into more detail if anyone's curious. So, order information, and then order detailed by fund account. Okay. So that's sort of the nuts and bolts of the system. Each item for sale, under the covers, there's a setup, right? And then the setup is there, and that's how we're able to do the data collection. And then that data collection allows us to run all these awesome reports. So you will have all this information at your fingertips, okay? Let me pause here, because I think there might be a couple of questions here in the chat box. And Tony, you've been taking these questions. Thank you so much, Tony. Okay. All right. Yes. Just to confirm, in terms of card brands, we are doing Visa, MasterCard, and Discover. So that was part of the negotiation for APSRC. Deposits, okay, this is a question from Terry, great question. Deposits are going to be available, there's two options. It's going to be either bi-weekly, or pardon me, forgive me, it's not bi-weekly, it's bi-monthly. So you can do it basically on the 1st and the 16th. And then any sales that fall in between, they would be kind of bashed until that day. So just sort of as a quick example, if you have sales from the 15th to the 16th, 1st to the 15th of that month, you'll get that money on the ACH that happens on the 16th. If you have sales from the 16th to 31st, you'll get that money on the 1st of the following month. Okay, so that's the first option. Other options, a little more simple. We can do a weekly deposit, and that would be Tuesday mornings. Okay. Okay. So bi-monthly or weekly. That's the two options. Is that clear, Terry? Okay, excellent, wonderful, glad to hear it. As another sort of quick overview of the school process, this is sort of an overview of how that works. So in terms of the process, someone needs to create those activities. You saw sort of a quick example of those where you have to put out the name and the price and the fund account information. Typically this falls to a school user, like a bookkeeper. We do have a full support staff to help with that process. Product goes online, people go shopping. We charge those credit cards. We send out those emailed receipts, and then you guys get your money. So that's the basic sort of general process, okay? All right. Okay, and I'm getting a question for a concession stand. That is a great question. And that's actually a really great segue into additional options. So everything I've shown you thus far is an online sort of parent-facing solution. So the free store kind of help parents maybe shopping, maybe at home, maybe at work. They're not necessarily on campus. If you are in a situation where you're taking funds on campus, you have a different set of requirements and different set of needs. And so we do offer other options for those. So Terry, my recommendation for you would be one of two options. It would be either online mobile swipe or online teacher receiving. And these are basically solutions for taking funds that we consider to be face-to-face. Okay. I wasn't necessarily planning on going into some of those today, but we do offer those abilities, and I would love to have more of a conversation for that with you, maybe one-on-one later.
Okay. Would those be at an additional cost?
They are, yes, to be clear. All right. One of the reasons we do charge a little extra money for these in-person transactions, because we do also allow for the acceptance of cash and check. We don't charge a service fee on cash and check. Okay. All right. I think I'd like to double check and look how we are on our agenda. So we've done a kind of an overview of the solution: receiving, reporting, school business. I think at this point, maybe we can talk a little bit more about those integrations. Kendall and Tony, would you mind popping in and talking a little bit more about those?
Hey, Lauren, just to lead that off, if you guys are familiar with the Lincoln Learning program that was integrated this year for most of the districts in the state with regards to online courses and content, Kendall was able to develop the one roster system that took all the burden off the district with regards to uploading all the student data. So we know that the value for a school district a lot of time is in this integration between the two softwares. So that is one of the key features of this program. I just want to keep that in mind as Kendall and Tony have worked to make your life easier with regards to getting the information into eFinance Plus.
Thanks, Ken. I think that is a huge value add, it's a huge benefit.
All right. Maybe I'll take it from here, and Kendall can actually let me know if I use any of the terms wrong in our integration. But since obviously we every time we build an integration, we need to learn through what you use for your revenue accounts or fund accounts in terms of what our system calls it. So what we'll be doing is presenting a file that will, after the statement is generated, like Lauren said, on the 16th of the month or the 1st of the month or the Tuesday, that'll be picked up by Kendall's process and the APSRC folks. And that will include your budget unit .account. So I'll use the X's to help, but it'll be sort of in a XXX.XXX 5 X's. So 4 X's dot 5 X's. Hopefully that makes sense to everybody on this call. Doesn't make as much sense to me. But again, that revenue account that money's going to. So it would come with that, a fund account description, and the receipt amount. So each one of those will be summed up in a statement format that will total up to what we are going to deposit into that school's bank account. And that will be totaled across all your schools as well. So each, at a district level, you may have 3 schools. And so you would get the entry for that, for those 3 schools of those 3 deposits to match up with that. So depending on which each item is selling, like Lauren showed with sort of the central high school. So it's actually a pretty simple integration to build out. But maybe one of the things to point out as far as this relationship is, while it will be simple to build it, for you to use, it's not always simple to build it. And it's not something we always offer to our customers, or it comes with the cost. But because you're sort of coming together as a group, we're able to offer something like that, which is sort of one of the keys to this relationship in general. Because working one-on-one with each of your technology departments, while I'm sure they have great people there, it just comes with a lot of overhead to it. So in this case, we're able to work with Kendall and then put this all together. So that will come in the day after into your eFinance Plus PowerSchool system. How that actually works, I might pass that to Kendall if you don't mind. Give a little bit more, because I kind of leave it off at the file level there.
All right, thank you, Tony. Yes, APSRC and Edlio have partnered to put this together. Tony has been a huge help on giving me the details that I need, and we have been able to build a process that will grab the file that Edlio produces. We are going to have it in the form that you need it to be able to import it into eFinance. You will receive that file via an email. So if you are getting your statement on each Tuesday, Wednesday morning when you walk in, you will have an email that will come from me with an attached file. And you will be able to import that into eFinance. It will become a batch that you can then look at that batch before you post it, and all the transactions will be taken care of that way. There's also mentioned earlier, Lauren mentioned and Tony did, about the flow of student data and the revenue budget units back to Edlio. And I'm going to process that as well on a nightly basis. So once you're using the Edlio system, it will check and make sure that you are entering an existing revenue code from your district. So we're going to handle the flow of that data. I saw the question from West Fork if it's going to be totally automated. It's going to be as totally automated as it can be, with the only exception being the actual import into eFinance, which we will help you set up the template that is required in eFinance. That's a one-time setup thing, and we'll help you set that up so that from that point forward, you'll be able to import, and that's all there will be to it. The file will already be in the correct form needed for that.
And what we get out of the student information for you, Lauren kind of alluded to that earlier, but you can do some grade level specifications to where an item can't be purchased by those. You can run some reports based off of grade levels, things along those lines. So while it's not required, not all of our customers do it, it's an added benefit there. And actually that passes into that same teacher receipting module that Lauren showed as an optional piece, so you could have your students easily accessible and quickly to pull them up rather than having to enter each one by one that way. Parents do enter their students under their accounts, so it does allow for split households and things along those lines, but we can validate that that student ID matches up to that student name once we have that file there. You can make purchases out of some of the items that you can set up. You don't have to require a student ID, so your community can make purchases, donations. You don't have to require that, just to make sure, but it would come with it there. That's probably all we can cover with this without taking up a bunch of time, but basically the goal of this is to make it as hands-off for you, take the burden on at the APSRC level so that you can just pick it up and use it from there.
This is a pretty high level overview. Trust me when I say I could probably talk for at least an hour just the software alone. So we're trying to keep this fairly quick today. All right. Kendall, Tony, and Ken, thank you so much for talking a little bit about those integrations. Again, school accounting, student data, both are included at no cost. They are fully automated, and we're thrilled to be able to offer those options to y'all. Okay. I think let's go ahead and move on. I'm gonna talk just a little bit more about sort of the related OSP services, just so you guys know what those are. And then we'll talk about those partnership benefits, implementation, and learning more, okay? One of the things that you'll be getting after today's session is a packet to overview sort of the solutions that we're offering. You guys might have seen this first one already. It's a sort of a simple flyer that kind of overviews the main free one. So I think if you guys registered, I believe this was attached to the registration. We will also have a packet. Let me show you what that packet looks like. Let me see here. It's this one. It's actually a slightly different one. There we go. So this is to look pretty familiar to Ken, I think. So this is what we will be handing out to the group today after the session. So look for that email later with this information attached. It'll probably come from either me or Ken, I'm imagining. But basically what this includes is an overview of the benefits, sort of the software, standard features and services, the purchase process, a little bit more information about those exclusive integrations. The one thing it does also in our overview, and I kind of want to take a little bit of time here to kind of go through that, is the services that are included. So we do include full implementation. Even with the free solution, there is a free implementation as well. So that would be the configuration of your store, the building of your store, all webinar training. We offer drop-in training, I think on a weekly basis, and then initial training just to kind of get you guys started. That's all included. We will include sort of standard project management. So if you want to do sort of migration, if you're using an old system, maybe you want to upload that into our system, we will help you with that, and that is included in all cost. We can help you with quality analysis, again, that training, and then ongoing support. And I do want to talk a little bit about that support. So we do offer unlimited training and support, and this is for everybody. So central office folks, school-based folks, parents and community members, right? If they have questions, who do they go to when they need to talk to somebody? So that is included at all costs. We do offer full support for literally every single person. In terms of what that support looks like, it's online ticketing available, telephone call, we have a toll-free number. There is monitoring as well. You certainly can also email. And we are based in the East Coast. Our support team is actually here in Virginia, where our headquarters is. So just so you guys know, we're very close to your time zone, and you know, real life humans are available to talk to. Okay. I like to joke it is real life humans because you never know when you're talking to a robot or whatever, but there are real folks here to help you. Okay. As part of the other services that we offer, every OSP account will also get a free client success specialist. And if you guys might not fully know what this is, so I want to take a second to explain it. Basically, you will get a representative who will help you in all of your accounts. They're that person that you can turn to if you just have that quick question. They're your advocate when you need something done and you're like, I don't know who to talk to. They're that person to help you. It's right there in their title, right? We want you to be successful. Well, here's the person to help you to be successful. Okay. Again, the client success specialist is included at no cost. They're lovely people. It's Ivana and Jeanette are the two main people, and they're very, very lovely. Okay. In terms of the technology itself, we are cloud-based, so there's nothing to install. There's nothing for you to maintain. There's no database that you have to create. We're hosted in the East Coast. Actually, if anyone's ever heard of AWS 1, that's basically where we are. We're in Virginia. We handle all that whole aspect of it. Among other things that we do is we maintain level 1 PCI compliance. If anyone knows PCI compliance, if you don't know what PCI compliance is, it's basically credit card security, maintaining the system so it is secure, and then people can rest assured that, you know, their information, their data, their payments are not in, how do I say this? You're in good hands. How about that? We're in good hands. One of the things that we have done is we've actually gone out of our way to be on both the Visa and MasterCard list for PCI Level 1 for what's called Registry of Service Providers. So we've actually been publicly, lauded by Visa and MasterCard for going above and beyond for what we need to do. Okay. If you want to know more about the credit card security piece, about our technology and our cloud hosting, I'm more than happy to give you that information later. But I just want you guys to know that it's included at no cost. It's all part of the sort of the solution. Okay. All right. And at this point, let's talk a little bit. Wait, I think there might have been a couple questions here in the chat box. That's interesting. I can't read the chat box. Okay. Tony and Christine, were there any questions in the chat box that I should be talking about, or Ken?
Yeah, I think one that hadn't been addressed with the response, there's been a couple. I know you're going to get to the reward system in a minute. That's one of the questions. And then, do you have an interface with eTrition for food service payments?
Let me talk about the eTrition integration. At this time, we do not, but I think it has come up in conversation at least a few times. Ken, the name sounds very familiar. I know we've talked about it.
Yeah, that just to sorry to cut in there, but that is one of our goals, is to make sure that we can try to partner with as many of those folks as possible. As you know, those systems take their own credit cards, so they're not real interested in partnering with anyone else. But we will be pursuing as many of those integrations as possible.
I guess long story short is not right now, but we are optimistic for the future to get that added. Okay. Okay. I think at this point, unfortunately, I'd love to read the chat box, but for some reason I can't right now. So I'm going to go ahead and just move on. Let's talk a little bit about those exclusive benefits. I think the two main benefits to this for APSRC school members is that we have for specialized pricing, and then there is a special rebate. Okay. In terms of the pricing, in the packet, there is actually a pricing sheet. And I just want you guys to have these numbers. So these were negotiated on your behalf by APSRC. Ken's a hard negotiator. But for those who are curious, the free solution that we're offering is going to be that one that's called online school payments. We do offer additional modules for more of those in-person solutions. So those are here as well, like the online teacher receipting, the online mobile swipe. And there's also some additional pieces if you're interested, like invoicing, if you want like automation for that, things of that nature, that is included as well. In terms of getting a sort of an accurate quote for you, we would like to do a demo, and I'll talk a little bit more sort of near the end for those to kind of have a more one-on-one conversation with you and your school district and more of your particular sets of needs. And that way we can get you a good faith estimate. But these pricings are included in the packet if you would like to review it later. Okay. All right. In terms of the rebate, basically what this is that APSRC school members are going to be considered one group. And then when any credit card transactions that get processed through Edlio, APSRC will get actually a portion of that for their membership. Okay. And basically what it breaks down to is it's 0.1 per $1 million. And then there's a cap at 10 million. Okay. And the way that we typically do this is, at the end of the fiscal year, we will issue checks to each school district for sort of their portion, okay? And this is an added benefit. It's included at no cost. It's passive. There's nothing for you to do. We'll actually take care of it for you. And you'll be able to run reports at the end of the year so you can see how much money you can expect, okay? And that's just a little incentive, right? The more that you can encourage your parents and communities to use the system, the more that you get. The more that you can encourage your fellow schools and school districts to work with you as your peer group, the more that you get as well. So we're trying to kind of get the whole APSRC group together on this, because the more that you do, the more that you earn, okay? Let me pause here for a second. Any big questions on either maybe pricing or possibly the rebate?
Lauren, I would just add that pre-COVID, districts were receiving for activity funds and food service payments about $200 million a year statewide. So we get a large group in Arkansas using the program. These discount rebates should be attainable. So that's why we want to offer this to as many districts as we can and ensure that they can take advantage of it. Because right now we have some districts in the state using this program that may not get to $1 million themselves and get a rebate. So that's the advantage of having the group with APSRC. And I would go back to the chat. Tony answered a question about PCI that I think is important, is that the question was, will the school be required to complete the annual PCI assessment certification? And Tony's answer is no. Since they're the merchant of record, you don't have to. So I think that's important. Also, a lot of discussion about the bank reconciliation. If Kathy wants to jump in there and say anything about that, that'd be great.
Yeah, the bank. One of the reasons we picked the 1st and the 16th, or the 16th and 31st, is so that the 1st and the 16th, so that you can reset the period when you do the import. The only time you may have a trouble if something hits your bank so late is it misses the end of the day on that 31st, but that's pretty iffy. The people who have problems with bank rec are the people who choose to do it once a week, because that Tuesday import on the month change will cause you some problems. So we've kind of tried to handle that. The other part is, and I know Kendall said it, but I was going to put it in business manager ease. For the import, what they've got done is it will basically be ready to go into the import batch receipts, and really it comes in the right format. So all you'll have, and we'll help you set up your template, and all you'll have to do is post it, check it and post it when you get it. So that should make things much simpler. That's all I've got.
Thanks, Kathy. That was very clear. Thank you. And just to kind of piggyback a little bit what Ken said earlier, getting to that, maybe 1 million to earn that first initial rebate. If you're, a school district with 1 to 3 schools, that might be really tough, right? Which is one of the reasons we did this as a group. We really wanted everyone to kind of group together to get that sort of added power, kind of lock hands together, right? And that I think is a huge part. So the more that we can get, the more school districts of APSRC to join together on this, the more you earn back, and that is, I think, a huge benefit.
And we've seen the power of that in our purchasing card program. There's some, that has increased significantly over the last 2 or 3 years, and it doesn't take very many schools to really increase that amount. So I'm very excited about that possibility.
Yep. All right. Again, pricing and the rebate information will be shared with the packet after today's meeting. That'll be emailed out, so don't feel like you have to take any screenshots. Let me get back to my slide deck here. Let me talk a little bit just about quick implementation, and then if you want to learn more, what that'll do for next steps. Standard OSP is just a 2-week process. Truthfully, we get a lot of these done actually in 1 week, but if you are looking to move fast, we can move fast with you. In terms of what this looks like, there's a contract that you need to sign and fill out, and we ask for certain information like your name of your schools, and we will need the bank account information. Okay. Once that's complete, we will start the coding of your site. We will do that setup, any content migration, any data conversion. And then Zach Baker, who is our implementation lead, Zach will reach out to you about training requirements. And your client success specialist will work with you at will work with you as well for sort of hand-holding and for that initial go live. So every implementation gets at least 1 free live training. It is with a live person, it is a webinar. It's typically going to be Zach or client success will be one of those people having that training with you. It's about an hour, and you can invite anyone that you like. We do offer ongoing trainings as well. So if you have a new hire who's starting like in January, she can always just hop into one of those classes whenever she needs to. Okay. So typically speaking, standard implementation, we're about 2 weeks. If you're looking to get a whole bunch of stuff from us, you might have to add additional slack time just because we have a little bit more work to do, but nothing excessive. Okay. So that's standard implementation. By the way, if anyone has a hard deadline, like, hey, we're starting sales next week, please let me know. I'm sure we could work something up. So I guess at this point, we've been talking for about 50 minutes. And I guess I just want to say this basically covers the content that I wanted to go over today. I'd like to open it up to questions. And, you know, if you are interested in learning more, please reach out to me. I'll be giving out the contact information for the rest of our team as well, for Peter and for Christine. But if you would like a demo, if you'd like to have more of a one-on-one conversation, this is my contact information. My name is Lauren. It's a very easy email. It's lauren@edlio.com. And again, I'll be sending out that packet. My information is in there as well. Okay. We'd love to have a conversation with you all. Okay. All right. And Ken, was there anything else that you would like to add?
Yeah, we have a couple more minutes here. If you do have a question, just go ahead and unmute and ask that question. We didn't take a registration today for the Zoom, so I'll send this entire package out to all school business managers and superintendents that are members of APSRC.
Excellent.
Ken, this is Kathy. I would mention too that for the districts out there, a lot of times you find out you have a new club that started yesterday and you need to start taking money for them. Because Kendall's got the integration written to go every night, if you created a new fund today, it will be live tomorrow. So that will make a big help for you all.
I can see chat again, so yay. Pam asked a question, and she's asking about account balances per student for childcare and other fees. Pam, we do offer that functionality. It is, just to be clear, it is not necessarily part of that free packet, that free solution. For childcare, we would specifically like to recommend this one, online school care. If you're doing account balances, this is the best way to do that. So the way that this works is that you can take your students, you can assign fees to each of those students, maybe like aftercare, Monday through Friday, right? Or before care, you know, Mondays only. And then they will show that the student has that fee outstanding. And then as payments go through, it'll keep the balances sort of together, okay? Online school care is a little bit more robust than maybe some of the functionality I showed you today. So Pam, I would strongly recommend, if you want to learn more about school care or child care, let me know, or Christine know. We'd be happy to give you a demo and talk more about the one-on-one, okay? In terms of fees for assigning like maybe an outstanding debt to a student, if you do want to track balances like that, we do offer that functionality. It's called student invoicing. It's built into some of our software like teacher receipting. So you can have things like obligations, right? Or maybe you show like Lauren Goldberg lost her library book. She owes $25. It is outstanding. And then when parents go in, they can see that outstanding debt and pay for it. Again, with those sort of, for obligations and invoicing, it's a little bit more. So again, we would strongly recommend having a call with us later so we could talk about that individually, okay?
And Lauren,
so again,
since you're on that screen, why don't you go ahead and just cover online ticket management real quick?
Sure, yeah. So ticket management, this is probably the one I didn't cover, I think. It allows you to turn on a barcode component to your payments or allow for redemption. So I think that's a quick example. Let's see, go in here. Yeah, I do have an example of this, I think, if I go into my school. Give me 1 second. Here we go. So you can see here, I have an item here called locker fee. And then next to that, there's this print redeem. So that's the ticket management. It allows you to better track items. Maybe in this case, if you are buying, say, a locker and you have to pick up the locker, you might want to print that off so when they go to pick it up that you can redeem it. In the back end of the management portal, there is a way for you to mark the item as having been received. So like later on, say mom or dad doesn't come say, hey, we never got the locker information or whatever, you can say, oh yeah, it was picked up on this day. So it's a redemption piece. It's also a ticket piece. We see a lot of this for ticket management. We see a lot of schools using this for things like football games and basketball games, selling ticketing for maybe athletic events. But again, there's also that item redemption as well. So if you're doing like spirit wear, cap and gown, it kind of works for both kind of components at the same time. Ticket management, again, if you are interested in ticket management, I would strongly recommend a larger conversation around that with the Edlio team, so we can talk about that more individually. Okay. All right. And Tony popped this into the chat box. Ticket management has become very, very popular with COVID. And I think it was South Carolina, if I'm not mistaken. We had a lot of schools reach out because, when you say you're having a basketball game and you can only have, 50% capacity, right? How do you track that? How do you assure that you only have so many people in the building? So this component right here, ticket management, has become very, very popular as a result. Okay.
And that may continue. Of course, we're probably back to full capacity maybe next year, but at the same time, it's still the ease of use. And as one of you said in our meeting last month, I can't remember who said it, but I'm trying to get away from as much cash as possible at my events. And you know as well as I do, when there's cash involved, there's just a lot of possibilities for issues. And so I think that's going to be a really good feature there with regards to taking money at the gate, having your tickets, and then Terry, as we look at the possibility for the concession stands as well.
Absolutely. Lee asked in the chat, she's entering late. Lee, we're going to send out some information after this, including a recording and a packet. So keep an eye out for that. If you would like the web address for us, our main, I'm going to just put this in the chat box. So we have one website that's payment specific, and then our parent company, which has more of that website information, is Edlio. Okay, so feel free to go to either one. Okay. All right, and if anyone would like this slide deck, I'd be happy to share that as well. Would that be helpful to everybody? Lee says please.
Yes, we want that as well. Yeah.
Fantastic. All right. Any final questions? All right.
All right, Lauren, we appreciate it all the information today. We are excited about the possibilities with this new partnership, and we've been working on it for quite some time. And I don't know if you've ever dealt with any of the companies that take credit cards, but we've had discussions with numerous entities, and Edlio has really tried to do what works well for districts. And we take Tony's platform, which has been available for a long time. And as Kathy said earlier, you probably met Tony at SASBO if you've been there before. And this is the system that Kathy and I looked at probably 3 years ago. And it's the one that makes most sense for schools. I talked to some credit card companies that could offer some maybe even slightly better deals with regards to just slightly better on the percentage that's charged. However, we don't get any of the integration, and it's not made for schools. It's all those credit card companies just build their software to be taken at the gas station or wherever else. So this one's specifically designed for schools, and I think it'll give you the ease of use that's worth a lot of dollars to you. So we thank you for your time today. If you have any questions, reach out to Lauren or reach out to any of our team here at APSRC. We have our entire finance team online today: Bonnie Colville in the Northwest office, Kathy Hanlon, Denise Palmer, and Scott McRae in the Little Rock office. Reach out to any one of us and we'll be happy to get you more information. Hope you guys have a great day, and thanks for joining us.
Thanks, everybody.